What is up, you guys? Sorry my voice is lost. We had a Halloween thing last night. It has been way too long since my last video, and I need to get another video up. So as you can see by the title, today I'm gonna be explaining like why I got a new car, because most of you know like I got a new car, but you don't know the extent of what happened, because there was a lot. So I'm gonna go through that video today. So to start off with, I just want to say I'm not throwing shade at the dealer. They were great, they worked with us. It was just the specific people that had worked on the car did not know what they were doing. So it made for a long several months. So it was from the end of November to it was like January 10th, I believe. It was somewhere around there. It was kind of early to mid January. The first thing that happened, so we're gonna start all the way in the beginning in November. It was like around Halloween, a little after Halloween. My car had it had trouble like starting, and it would be jumpy and shaky, and I remember specifically there would just be lots of smoke that would come out of the exhaust, and these cars are prone to like having head gaskets blown, and so obviously we were afraid that's what it was. So we took it into where I got my car. They said because we bought it from them they would give us a really good deal, and so they did, fixing up the head gasket. And so we took it in, we got it back like 2.5 to 3 weeks later. And we were driving it around for a while, and then we started smelling a gas smell coming from it. Obviously not normal. And so I remember it was Christmas weekend, it was this Friday, and then Christmas was like the next week, and so we were celebrating Christmas with our family that weekend, and so it was Friday we took it to them saying like, hey, could you look at this? And they were like, oh, it should be fine, you can drive it around, there shouldn't be any issues, just bring it back on Monday and we can look at it. So Saturday, when we were doing Christmas with family, I had to go to work, and so I had to leave our family Christmas early, and so I was just gonna take my car and just go to work. Well, we took it on the highway, my mom and I, and I don't know if this is what kind of made it do this, but there was a semi that wouldn't let me get past, so I had to like kind of race around him. And I think doing that, it made my car really shaky, and I looked at my mom, was like, is that the wind or is that my car? And she goes, I think that's the wind. And I was like, I don't think so. So she's like, okay, pull off into Park City, because we're still pretty close. And so I get down there, and we slow down, and then like it's at a red light, and so then we go again. My car did not want to go. It wouldn't go like any faster than like 20 miles an hour, and smoke was just blowing out of the exhaust. It took us a while to get home. We had to just drive it home, but we could only go like 20 miles an hour the entire way home, and it did not want to accelerate. It was so bad. The car was jumping and shaking. Oh, it was not good. And then, so after work that night, we took it back to them, and they said that they would fix it, because I think it was like a seal or something, I don't know. And we got it back, I think it was another like week and a half, 2 weeks later, and my dad dropped it off at work, so after work I could just drive it home. So I texted him and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna take it on the highway just to make sure everything's good, like everything's fine. So I get on the highway, and barely get on the highway, and it starts overheating. I'm like, are you kidding me? So I pull over and I text my mom and I was like, what do you want me to do? I was like, it's overheating. I was like, should I just drive it home? I don't know, should I keep driving it? And so she's like, yeah. She's like, just see if you can make it home. If smoke starts coming out of the hood, she's like, definitely just pull over and shut it off and we'll come get you. I made it home and my dad decides to look at it. And so we open up like the area where the coolant is, and there's absolutely no coolant in there. It's completely dry. So we're like, did they not put any coolant in it? Did they forget to? What happened? And so we had to put coolant in it and it was fine. So then the next morning we would go out and look, and all that coolant had drained through, so it was completely dry again. And we're like, wow, it must have really been empty. And so we put more coolant in it, and it just keeps cycling through. We don't know what happened. We think it was stuck open, whatever it was. And so the coolant kept just cycling through. And so we had put in 3 or 4 of like the big tubs of coolant. They're like that big, like the big ones. And so even though we kept putting the coolant in, it kept overheating still. And it like really bad. And the coolant just kept draining through like really fast. And so there was no coolant in the system. And so my friend and I had went to the mall, wanted to go to the mall. So we were on the highway, and I remember we were talking, and it was like the busiest part of the highway. It was on Kellogg. If you guys are in Wichita, you know where that is. And all of a sudden I look down in my car, here's like, okay, where like cold, here's hot, like that's like the red mark or whatever. It was literally like that, and I was like, oh no. So I had to like quickly like speed in front of a car and like get off at the exit. And we pulled into a restaurant, and I just had to turn my car off and like wait for half an hour. And this is, I'll show you guys the text. I text my mom.
At least it's lowering.
I was like, what in the world? I was like, I can't, like we sat there for like half an hour, let it cool down a little bit. We were pretty close to the mall, and so we were able to just take side streets the rest of the way there and be fine. So, on the way home, where my friend lives, because my friend was with me, he lives like a straight line from the mall, but it's a longer way compared to taking the highway. And so I was like, whatever, we'll just take side streets. That way we're not going as fast, not making it heat up as much. So we're on our way home, and in between there's 2 cities, and it was really starting to overheat again, like in the point of the red. And so I was like, okay, if we can just make it was like a mile and a half up the road was the next gas station, and I was like, I can just pull over there, let it cool down, maybe see if they have coolant that I could buy or whatever. So in the middle, there's absolutely nothing in the middle of these towns. Of course, my car decides to shut off and it won't turn on. It completely overheated, and so we pulled over, and I had to call my mom, and I was like, Mom, I was like, I'm stuck in the middle of nowhere. And let me remind you, this was in the beginning of January, so there was no heat in my car. My heat just didn't work. Middle of January, and I didn't feel like wearing, we're like shopping for clothes and stuff, so I didn't feel like wearing heavy things because I would get hot, so I wasn't wearing much. I think I was wearing like shorts and then like a little bit of a heavier shirt, I don't even know. But anyway, so we were freezing our butts off. We're trying to keep warm. My mom's like, oh, it'll be like she came like 45 minutes later. Luckily several people stopped and asked if we were okay, we needed help or anything, and we were fine. And so my mom gets there, and then my dad meets us. So my dad let me take his car to take my friend home, and then my mom followed my dad in my car to take it back to the dealership so we can just set it there and they can deal with it in the morning. And so they fixed it back up. It took another like 2.5 to 3 weeks, I think. The head gasket completely blew again. And so after that, I told my dad, I was like, we're not keeping this. He was like, are you sure? He's like, it should be fine now. I was like, no. And so that's when we were kind of, that final stretch when it blew again and they were fixing on it, we were kind of looking at cars. And then it was actually the day we'd been texting Guy about the car that I have now, and the day that we got my car back, my old one, we took it up there and traded it, and now I have a new car. So yeah, moral of the story is make sure you get a reliable car. Don't go to, if a dealership keeps screwing up on your car, don't keep going back to them. And then I don't even know. It's okay. Things work out in the end. I mean, it's okay. It's fine. Everything's great. Everything is awesome. Yeah. I'm living. I didn't die. We made it out alive. That's all that matters. Yeah. So, thank you guys so much for watching. I know I need to upload more. I hopefully am having a Halloween vlog and a Christmas vlog coming up. So please subscribe. And I will put all my social media down below. Thank you for watching this video.